Hey Internet, Harris here. So the last video I made was talking about why the Surface Go was better than the iPad, and the one fundamental reason was because it could do basically everything this could do, or at least a Windows laptop, plus a USB-C port that allows you to use USB-C accessories and use any type of adapters or periphery that a MacBook Pro could use. You can use that with the Surface Go, and that's really impressive and really cool, and all the applications that you can run on the Surface Go. It is not limited except for in performance. But with that being said, its biggest feature is also one of its worst features, and one of the reasons that makes me not love the Surface Go all the time, and that would be the size of the device while still running a full desktop operating system. So by default, the scaling on this guy already is at 150% for the icons, for the text, and for the taskbar, and that isn't very big. So when you're using the device and you're going to the taskbar to open up an application from your dock, essentially, it's a really fine-tuned touch. It's not very comfortable. Same thing goes for just navigating around the system in general, including applications. Newton Mail is my favorite mail client, and I use that on all my devices. When I use it on my Mac, it's totally fine because it's a big screen, easy to use, large touchpad. When I use it on my iPad, it's nice because I can see a split screen between the emails that I have. On the left-hand side, I can see all my emails. On the right-hand side, I can see that this subscription for Carrie Stewart is now under my name, so thanks whoever did that. But then on the Surface Go, when I tap on Newton Mail and I open it up, it's just not as good as either of these. This is awesome because for this screen size around 10 inches, it's really well optimized for a tablet for touch. Now of course you can use a mouse on here, and that is going to help out a lot when you're using it, but still it's just not very conducive for either desktop or tablet. You're kind of in that middle gray area, and that's where 2-in-1s have always really struggled. Now you can increase the scaling, which I've done from 150%, I've increased that, and that does make it a little bit better. Things are a little bit bigger, but still you have a little bit less screen real estate when you increase the scaling on here, and you can run into some issues with blurriness, which the software will try to fix but doesn't always do it. And you can also throw it into tablet mode, which takes advantage of the tiles on the home screen more. It makes it a little bit more conducive for using it with your finger and using it as a tablet, but that still isn't perfect. With iOS 12 on the iPad, gestures are really nice for switching between applications, for closing, for getting into your multitasking. They're similar to the Surface Go, but because Apple is using custom architecture on their chips, it is smoother on the iPad. This is a 2.5-year-old iPad Pro, the old generation. This is a brand new device, and switching between applications is better on this iPad than it is on the Surface Go. And finally, when you're using the Surface Go, the screen is just not as crisp as the iPad, any of the Retina displays on any of the iPads. I've never been a guy to compare PPIs because it just doesn't really make that much of a difference, but 216 or 217 on here versus 264, that's about a 20% difference, and you're already playing around with lower resolutions just because these are larger screens and you're holding them fairly close. Because so many aspects of the OS on here are smaller, I find myself looking closer at the screen of the Surface Go than I do on my Mac because it's so big, or my iPad because it's designed specifically for a tablet and has been developed over the years to really be essentially perfected at this point for a tablet experience. I'm finding myself looking closer to the screen of the Surface Go. Finer text and smaller objects definitely can look a little bit pixelated. They don't look super crisp, whereas the iPad, almost everything looks super crisp. On the Surface Go, the colors are really nice, the screen is vibrant, it's a quality panel, but when you're looking that close, you definitely can start to see the resolution difference. About a 18 to 20% difference between the pixel density between the iPad, the 9.7, as well as the Surface Go. I can notice that difference, especially when looking up close. So while the Surface Go is awesome because you're taking a full desktop operating system and you're just putting it on a smaller device, that also does mean that you're doing the same tasks on a much smaller device, and things that require more precision, you might want to get that Surface Pen, or you might want to get that Touchpad 4 because it's going to help you with the more fine-tuned movements, because a lot of things are small. The icons, the system buttons, the taskbar, things are smaller, require a more fine-tuned press, requires you to look in and closer to the device more than I found myself doing on the iPad, which also pointed out the resolution difference. Not a deal breaker, and it's still awesome that you can use this for all that productivity, but those are little experience points that really make me more comfortable going back to the iPad when I want to sit back and just use that tablet experience. This is a cleaner and more well-developed tablet experience. This is good for desktop on the go. But that's about it for this video. They both definitely have their pros and cons. The Surface Go is still an awesome device that I'm testing out thoroughly, especially for school circumstances, and I'm also testing out the iPad Pro for that comparison. But thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, a thumbs up lets me know. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, as well as my new school lifestyle video, which I'll leave linked below. Thanks for watching.